Good evening, and welcome to I'm Listening, Stay Connected. I'm Listening is a 24/7, 365 initiative that works to destigmatize talking about mental health. And that's really the purpose of what we're trying to do here is we want everyone to get more comfortable talking about their own mental health. And in doing so, we're telling those around us that they can come to us and talk about theirs as well. Right now with COVID-19, a lot of us are doing the self-isolating, which is so important. And that's leading to some mental health struggles. And we're working really hard to prevent them from escalating. If you want to join the conversation, you can do so by tweeting at hashtag I'm listening or by sending your DMs to our Loveline IG page. We got a great show for you. Tonight we will have singer-songwriter and multi-platinum selling artist Vasi joining us, as well as Dr. Heather Zwicky, an immunologist and researcher, to talk about the importance of sleep and also the food and supplements that we are eating and taking. Now, I want to talk a little bit about normalcy. We're trying to maintain as much normalcy as we can because that's going to help decrease some of the anxiety and tension that we're feeling in our lives, in our bodies, and in our nervous systems. But I don't want it to happen to a point of losing what we call healthy levels of anxiety. And that's what's dropping a little bit as we see more and more people getting a little too comfortable with hearing about COVID-19, and they're venturing out and taking some risks. Now, cities like New York are pushing back on that by fining people anywhere from $250 to $500 for those that are not practicing social distancing and gathering in groups. Now, while that's going to be helpful to enforce that, it's imperative that we're all taking it upon ourselves to take that seriously. And just here in LA, as I'm, going to do grocery shopping or driving to essential-based businesses, I'm seeing far too many people that are not honoring the social distancing. And again, remember, we're working really hard to flatten the curve. It's heartbreaking every day to hear more and more about individuals that are passing, and it's starting to touch us. But for those that don't feel closely related to it, know that it's still serious, and we haven't necessarily reached the full peak as of yet, with the United States being right now the epicenter. I want to talk also about home-work balance. Many individuals have their entire family home now, and we're working from home, and people are struggling to figure out, how do I maintain my home balance, but also work as well? And well, of course, my mental health, and trying to do both while raising kids and also educating the kids. It's a lot on our plates. Remember, it's not forever. We're doing the best we can. So a lot of this is going to be about just letting some things go, expecting some frustrations and difficulties, but there are some things we can do. The first thing is we want to always be paying attention to consistent sleep. A lot of us are having time creep, and the day's just going on endlessly, and we're staying up later and sleeping in more. Now, on one hand, we do want to give ourselves a break and acknowledge that we don't have to be holding our hours of sleep as precisely as we might have had to done in the past, but going to bed at the same time and waking up at the same time is really important for our physical health, our mental health, but also to keep some of that normalcy. So whatever time you were getting up in the past for work, try to stick to some semblance of that, because again, that's going to help decrease some of the anxiety and the panic. In addition to that, we're talking a lot about also changing your clothes. Why? Well, that's going to bring back that whole work identity. People that are floating through the day without any benchmarks, and they're not necessarily feeling tied to their normative identity, whatever their work was in the past, it's going to really help spike some of the depression and again, that anxiety. So changing your clothes and getting out of your pajamas and into something more work-based, although it might not seem like the most exciting thing to do, it's going to be really helpful with your mental health. And again, really focusing on transitioning from family time into business and work time. Now, also designated workspaces. Not everyone is going to have a home office, but that doesn't mean that you can't find a designated room or a designated space in a room that you call your workspace. Again, transitions are so important. Transitioning into work, transitioning out of work. So again, a designated workspace will not only allow you to settle into your work, but it also communicates to family members that you're at work, and they need to honor those boundaries. So that also is going to mean that we're going to have some family conversations and contracts. Family members and you have to sit down and talk about work hours, expectations that can be had on you while you're working, so as to not be constantly interrupted. Because again, we're trying to separate work and home life. Now, breaks are going to also be meaningful and important, because we don't want to just be working till all hours of the night and getting thrown off course. Because again, 7 to 9 hours of sleep is still what we're going for. It's imperative for immune functioning. But again, we want the day to actually have an end. And so mealtime is the normative benchmarks that we build into our day. So I still want you to focus on that. You can have breakfast, still have lunch, still have dinner. But again, whatever time work would have ended in the past, stick to that. It's important that we're also focusing on fun and leisure. That's part of self-care, but that's also part of mental health. So don't feel like because you're working from home that work should just extend endlessly into your day and into your evening. Although we're taking everything seriously and work is important, leisure, fun, and pleasure are equally as important. So build in those and prioritize those. Now, finally, we talked about clocking out, which means, yes, your workday gets to have an end to it. Let family members know when you're available again. Many individuals, again, they do so by leaving their workspace, transitioning out of what they were wearing, quote unquote, their work clothing, and kind of coming back into family time. And for some people, they're using things like headphones. That's really what's going to help block out all that noise if you have other members at home working, children running around, whatever it is. Headphones and things like that are going to help kind of block out some of that sound. Because again, some of us are blessed enough to be able to still be working, but we want to have some differentiation between home life and work life. And again, take those weekends off. I don't want to have people just kind of wandering into their weekends with this heavy workload. Again, leisure and fun are going to be our best friends, because distractions, now more than ever, are what are going to really allow our nervous system and our psyches to get a break. So overworking yourself is not going to be helpful. So please back off of finding a lot of value in just overworking. Again, family time, downtime, and distractions are really, really, really going to help us. All right, now we're going to be joined by Vasi, multi-platinum selling artist. Vasi, thanks for joining the show. How are you?
I'm good. Hi, guys.
It's good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too.
So I wanted to start off the show each night when we have a celebrity guest on with us by talking about mental health. We're trying to normalize that conversation. We're trying to get people to really focus on that. So let me start by asking you, how is your mental health right now?
Not too bad. Yeah, I'm hanging in there.
Good. You're smiling. So what kinds of things are you doing to make sure you're really focusing on keeping your mental health a priority?
I talk to people, friends, family, loved ones, and I don't know, just do my own thing. I'm trying to find good lighting here, but it's not happening.
That's all right.
The sun's hitting right now. It's that time of the day. But yeah, no, I don't know. I've been all right. Some days are better than others, but otherwise just not too bad.
Yeah. Our own governor yesterday was advising people to reach out to 3 to 5 people a day as a way of just like really being there for other individuals, but also just prioritizing socialization. So I like that you're doing that. So with the self-isolation piece, are you finding as though you're using it to work on your music, or are you taking a break from that and just doing more self-care and leisure?
No, I've been busy. My days are slammed. I've actually got so much to do. It just doesn't stop. And I need distancing. I need social distancing and digital distancing, because my phone would blow up like so much. So I have to put it on, just mute all the notifications, because it's just too much. And it just gets overload between everyone going live on Instagram, messaging, DMs. It's just nuts right now. So I've had days where I literally have had to just mute my phone. I'm on group text messages. I'm just too much. And now all of a sudden it's like everyone feels like they want to have a conversation during any time of the day. And you're like, oh my God, this is, I'm programmed. Like, I like to have my chats later in the day when I'm done with stuff, or on the weekends. But now it's just like any minute of the day, someone will call because they want to talk.
Boundaries, Vasi, boundaries.
I know. It's crazy, man.
It's a beautiful conversation. I'm having a lot with the patients that I'm still seeing via telephone and Skype, not having to feel as though they have to be accessible around the clock to people just because they're home.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've set up my studio here. So I'm trying to work on things. I'm doing writing sessions. But look, it's really important to stay connected and speak to loved ones. There's all the things you can do now with Zoom conferencing, and Facebook Messenger has a fantastic video feature. So I was doing that the other day with my family. There was like 8 of us on it, and everyone's putting funny filters in one another. We were just pissing ourselves laughing, but it keeps everyone's spirit up, I think, so it is important. But I think sometimes you also have to remove yourself to get some stuff done. But it's funny because we were joking the other day about, like, even now, this is the best I'm gonna, and I'm not really wearing any makeup, no foundation or anything, which the crew down at Channel Q would be dying right now. But what's the point? I'm in PJs. I showered for you, doctor.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I can see the soapy shine. That's great. I'm not wearing makeup either. I'm wearing, I am wearing dress pants, but I feel like I could be wearing pajamas right now as well. So
oh my God.
You're a triple threat. You're a singer, songwriter, also producer. Some of the people that I'm working with that are artists are struggling to find inspiration and motivation right now. How is it that you're finding that?
I'm kind of used to, I think I'm used to working from home. So it hasn't, the only thing that freaks me out now is really just my loved ones. If I die, I'm like, all right, whatever, I've written my will. But I just don't want anyone that I care about and love die from this. So that gives me anxiety and keeps me up. And I've lost all my live touring. So all my Pride festivals and all my shows. I was meant to be performing in New York this week, all gone. So that part really sucks. But in terms of staying creative, I've really tried to work on a lot of new music right now. I've been doing writing sessions, and so I'm pretty good. Like with that, I'm used to it. It's not like I go to a studio physically. I have my own studio at home, so I try to record everything myself. So it hasn't changed too much of my routine. Just the gyms are closed, and you know how it is. I was joking around saying, I've got this social distancing thing down, but not from the fridge.
Yeah,
like,
we saw that on your Twitter.
It's like, I don't know if anyone needs to hear this out there, but you've already eaten, okay?
Okay, so you're definitely getting all the meals in. I mean, that's one of the things I have to remind people to do is to eat. You're like, I got that covered.
Well, first of all, I love food. I'm no skinny girl. So this is like, my boyfriend's on the phone with me saying, did you work out today? I'm like, work out where? I'm not going to work out at home. I can't do those home fitness things. So it's going to be downhill. At the end of this quarantine time, oh my God. Wow.
Yeah, I can't get into the home workout thing as well. I have no motivation. It is not the same. That ship has sailed. It's going to be what it's going to be.
Totally. I know. I'm with you 1,000%. So it's going to be a bit scary, I think.
Yeah, we're going to be learning a new relationship with our bodies. So talking of your social media, we were creeping on it. You were talking a little bit also about insomnia. You were doing a little 3 a.m. Is anyone else up? Is that something that's been consistent for you with the self-isolating? Is the insomnia?
Random. Some nights, yes. I find myself, I live between different time zones. So it's tough because when things die down here in the US, and finally I'm like, okay, cool. I'm going to go for a little walk in the afternoon because you can social distance and walk in the park and keep your distance from people. I come back and then I'm like, all right, I'm going to have my dinner because I'm so self-quarantining on my own at the moment. My partner isn't here. And so I'm on my own basically. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to unwind now, watch my CNN. I love watching, Cuomo and all that.
Yes.
Then the phone blows up because it's Australian time. So I don't stop. Then my fans are DMing, and I feel so bad for them because I have fans everywhere around the world that are so affected by this, and everyone just wants to feel connected. And, me, I try to respond to everyone one-on-one. And before you know it, it's like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. So I'll always tweet out, and now it's like an ongoing joke. Like everyone's like, yeah, I'm still up or whatever, and it's a struggle to wake up in the morning. That part has really gotten worse. I mean, I'm not a morning person anyway, so like when I have to come to the studio to do interviews down at the station, they're like, oh, come at 8:30. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? But now it's 10 times worse.
That's right.
I cannot get out of bed before 10 a.m. It is so bad.
At least I know now who to be tweeting at if I'm up at 3 a.m. with insomnia. It's going to be Vassy. I'll be blowing you up.
Just text me.
Yeah, we'll be insomnia buddies. You got to push back that schedule a little bit. But so we're playing your new single here at Channel Q, Blink. It was awesome song. It's your new song. How's that going?
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
So get this right. The release date of Blink was Friday the 13th, which, I mean, honestly, I think we got jinxed. That was the day that Trump announced. Actually, our governor of California, Gavin Newsom, announced the shutdown. So 24 hours after that, everything got shut down in Los Angeles. So I think that the song has just come out at a really weird time. But yeah, it's getting embraced by a lot of the stations and all the fans loving it. So, it's cool. You just got to keep it moving. And it wasn't appropriate timing for this particular song because the song is, although ironically, it does say no rest for the wicked, you sleep when you're dead. So
foreshadowing. Who knew?
That's actually quite dark. But anyway, my point is my next song, I'm gonna have to write something so just a little bit more what's the word? Palatable.
Hitting the fridge at 4 a.m. I'm waiting for that single.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
I know.
So we're talking with Vasi tonight, multi-platinum selling artist. I'm listening. If you want to send your questions to us, you can do so by tweeting at hashtag I'm listening or on the Loveline DM page. Vasi, would you answer some tweets with me?
Yeah, and I just realized while I'm looking now at myself really quickly. So check out this painting in the background. This is an authentic Aboriginal painting. It's from Australia. It's Indigenous, and it was painted for me by this guy up north in the Northern Territory. Isn't that cool?
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I didn't know what that was. I thought at first I thought it was a part of a cactus. I don't have my contacts in, but thank you for clarifying. So here's our first tweet, Vasi. The first tweet asks, I'm feeling guilty about doing well because I was promoted and I'm having fun right now. Is it unkind of me to post about my successes on social media? What do you think about that? A lot of people are feeling as though it has to be doom, gloom, stats and facts. What do you think about people posting their best life right now?
I think it's cool. What's wrong with that? You shouldn't feel guilty about it. And honestly, this weird time right now, I mean, it's affected a lot of people in a negative way. Although there will be bigger blessings that comes out of it, I think, for everyone. But it's actually, for some people, it's a fantastic thing. I mean, a lot of new jobs are being created through this as well. Actually, so if you're one of them that's benefiting from this, even though it's a terrible thing that's happening right now, I think it should be celebrated. Don't feel bad about it. We all understand. Like, no one's gonna get jealous. So it is what it is. You know, you have your high now. You might have a low next week. I might have my high when you have your low.
Yeah, and those that I care about, I like to celebrate their successes. It makes me feel good for them, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Here's another tweet, Vasi. This tweet asks, how am I supposed to feel inspired to make art when I'm stuck at home alone? That's a good one for you.
So I'm stuck at home alone. As you can see, the kitchen's behind me, which is not a good idea. I would strongly suggest move to another part of the living environment if you can, as we say. Where are you going this weekend? To the bedroom, the bathroom, the kitchen? I'm going to the kitchen. I would say that if you want to feel inspired, listen to music that you like, that really moves you. It doesn't have to be necessarily the kind of music that you would write, but just listen to stuff that is, gets you in a good mood, and go for walks and things like that outside if you can, where there's not a lot of people, so that you can just get out of the apartment a bit, because just get in a funk. Like now, okay, I put a bit of lipstick on, some eyeliner, mascara. I mean, normally I'm in my PJs and nothing, but it does make me feel kind of grumpier. Like I feel like, I look at myself and now I'm like, okay, this isn't too bad. So when we're done with this, I might get another wind and get some more things done for the rest of the day.
Yeah, got to change it up. I can't imagine inspiration from looking at four walls all day long, right?
Totally, yeah.
Vasi, thank you so much for joining us. Your positivity is infectious, so thank you for being part of the show.
Oh, my pleasure, you guys. Just remember, stay home, stay strong. We're all going to get through this. And the most important thing is for us to do this together to help save lives. So.
Thank you for that. And congrats with Blink, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. All right, so you are watching I'm Listening. Stay connected. I'm Listening is a 24/7, 365 initiative, and we work to destigmatize mental health because, again, we're all in this together, and it's really important that we're staying connected, connecting with those around us. And I want to let you know that we're here. If you want to tweet your questions to us, you can do so at hashtag I'm Listening or send us a DM on our Loveline IG page. So I have a Twitter question for me here. It says, I hit up some exes out of boredom and loneliness. Is that bad? Oh, man. Yes, that's horrible. And that's one of the things I don't want people doing. I'm getting hit up by those people. I've had those moments late at night where you're like, who should I reach out to? Listen, there's two pieces to this. Number one, you don't want to be misleading someone. And I don't know if your exes are aware that it's over and if they've moved on. And so you don't want to necessarily interrupt what's going on in their life or their own healing process by, misusing them because you're bored or you're lonely. But also for you, that quick hit of attention from them, it's going to feel good in the moment, but it's not necessarily going to make you feel good in in the long run, because most likely if that relationship ended, there's a reason why. And I don't want now to have people bringing in toxic individuals from their past into their life. So reach out to people that you've wanted to maintain a deeper relationship with, reach out to family members, reach out to people that make you feel good and nourished. Now more than ever, that's what we should be doing. Keeping close to those where after we've gotten off the phone with them or FaceTime with them, we feel better, we feel good, at least feel neutral, but don't be connecting with people that make you feel worse or negative. That's really not what we need right now. So use that as your barometer. All right, right now we're going to be talking with Dr. Heather Zwicky, immunologist and researcher. How are you? Thanks for joining the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so one of the topics I wanted to discuss is something I think is so important. Can you talk to us a little about sleep, the importance of sleep, and why now more than ever it's something we have to focus on?
Yeah, absolutely. So we know that sleep is very much involved in your immune system and your immune response. In fact, your immune system kind of regenerates overnight. So if you're not sleeping enough, if you're sleeping less than 7, 8 hours a night or sleeping way too much, you're going to have low level inflammation. And low level inflammation going into an infection like this can make the infection worse. So we want to make sure that people are sleeping 7 to 8 hours a night, and also that they're not waking up in the middle of the night, because you know who you are, all those people who wake up between 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock in the morning, or 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, that's also causing low grade inflammation. What's really interesting about sleep is that melatonin, the hormone that puts us to sleep at night, is actually correlated with being able to fight this infection. So research out of China has shown us that when melatonin levels are higher, people deal with the infection a lot less. In fact, it's one of the reasons that we think kids don't have as bad of infection. They aren't getting as sick as adults because their melatonin levels are higher. So what's interesting about that is that kids have roughly around 300 units of melatonin per night for them to fall asleep. And as adults, we're more in the range of 50. So we're at higher risk. And the older you go, the less melatonin you have. In addition, women have more melatonin than men. So women tend to deal with this infection a little easier than males do.
And that's powerful. I know for someone like myself, I'm very sleep sensitive, as in if I don't get 8 or about 9 hours, I powerfully feel that distinction. So that's always been something that I've really focused on. Would you say sleep is among, or maybe even the best factor we need to zero in on right now? Sleep?
I think sleep, nutrition, and exercise,
Okay.
all three are essential. I think sleep is critical, though. It's one of those things that if that's not going right, nothing's going to go right.
And you mentioned the waking up at 1, 2, or 3 a.m. I'm hearing a lot of people start to talk about that more, people that maybe haven't had that in the past. Do you have anything you recommend to help prevent that from happening, or a way to cope with it when it does happen?
Yeah, so melatonin is the hormone that puts you to sleep, and GABA is the hormone that keeps you sleeping through the night. It's actually a neurotransmitter. And if you don't have enough GABA, then you're going to wake up between 1 and 3 a.m. So, how do you increase GABA? Well, you can do it with meditation. You can do it with herbs. You can do it with supplements. Probably the best way to do it, of course, is meditation, because then you're in control. But let's say it's not working for you. It's the meditation aspect isn't working. Then there are herbs that increase GABA, and they include things like lemon balm, passion flower, ashwagandha, valerian. All of these will increase your GABA levels so that you can sleep through the night.
Beautiful. I know that the Sleepy Time tea often has valerian in it. So that's actually
Exactly.
good to know. So let's talk for a minute about food and supplements. I hear a lot of back and forth as to what we should be taking, what we shouldn't be taking, what helps, what doesn't help. So just talk to us quickly about food. I know we should be centering nutrient dense foods. Are there any things we should be focusing more on or backing away from?
Yeah, so we always say nutrient dense foods, and that's vegetables, but you're really looking for vegetables that feed the bacteria in your gut, and they're not what you think they are. So most people think, oh, I need to eat more tomatoes or more cucumbers, but actually the vegetables that the bacteria like the most are onions, leeks, artichoke, sunchoke. They're these vegetables that have particular fibers that the bacteria in your gut love. And the bacteria in your gut can control how much GABA you make. So if you're not sleeping through the night, increasing those vegetables could actually help you sleep through the night.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Fantastic.
those aren't ones I tend to eat. Like I'm usually the broccoli spinach guy. So I'm like writing all this down in my head. I'm like, all right, I got to change up my grocery shopping a little bit. Thank you for that. So let's talk about,
What's interesting is if you look at the United States versus other countries, we eat tenfold less of those particular vegetables than most other countries.
That is boggling. It's so fascinating cross-cultural looking at what they focus on. Yeah. Because we're like, we're big on like the broccolis, the tomatoes, not as helpful. So as far as supplementation, you would agree that eating the foods themselves is best, but supplements can come second?
Yeah, I say food first,
Okay.
spices second, because spices are actually very healing.
Okay.
And then if it's just not working for you, if your diet's not that great and you just don't have the wherewithal to change it right now in this stressful time, then move on to supplements. So there are supplements that are antiviral. We think of things like echinacea, astragalus, golden seal, elderberry. Those are all antiviral, and then the entire mint family is antiviral. So drink some mint tea when you're getting up in the morning or with your afternoon snack, and that's actually a great antiviral. The lemon balm that we already talked about is in the mint family, so it's antiviral and it helps calm you down and it helps you sleep through the night. So it's like the trifecta.
Wow.
It's a fantastic herb this time of year. Yeah.
I've never heard anyone talk about that herb before. That's powerful.
About lemon balm?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's called Melissa officinalis.
Okay.
And it's we actually discovered that the mint family was very antiviral during the HIV epidemic. And even at a tea level, so tea is very dilute, but it turns out that if you put those mints, lemon balm, spearmint, peppermint, self-heal, all of those different herbs and teas, they're very antiviral.
Wow. We have 2 tweets. I'd love for you to answer them with us. Dr.
Sure.
Zuki, the first tweet says, are there any supplements I should be taking during this pandemic? Do supplements actually help? So we kind of touch upon that. But again, what would be the big 3 that you'd recommend supplement-wise?
The big 3 that I recommend are astragalus, because astragalus has been used for lung health in Chinese medicine for over 2,000 years. And I'm going to spell it out because most people haven't heard of astragalus. astragalus, astragalus. Okay. And then the second one is elderberry. Elderberry is fantastic because it actually disrupts how viruses get into cells. And it's doing that without having to stimulate your immune system. It's just a really good antiviral. Now, it can stimulate your immune system if you need it. So if you happen to get the infection, elderberry can help what's going on, but it doesn't stimulate your immune system if you don't need it.
Okay.
And then the third one is the lemon balm. Those are my top 3.
Beautiful. And those are things that people should take daily for prevention or only take them at a time of illness?
I think taking them daily for prevention is fine, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And our final tweet is, while everyone is stocked up on non-perishables, I want to focus more on fresh stuff. What food should I get to boost my immunity?
Yeah. Fantastic question. And yes, please focus on the fresh stuff and vegetables. There's research out this year that suggests that 30 servings of vegetables a week is really what we need. I know. Doesn't that sound immense? But it's not that much.
Okay.
If you think about it, it's 2 servings at lunch and 2 servings at dinner. That 2 half-cup servings, that's not that much. Yet it's not the standard American diet. So increasing any of your vegetables. If you're eating leafy greens, it's a cup is a serving. If it's not a leafy green, then a half a cup is a serving. But really work on increasing those vegetables and eat them without cheese. Right?
Not a problem over here. I'm all plant-based, so no cheese for me, no dairy.
But I see people, eating their broccoli and then they coat it in a huge, thick cheese sauce.
That's
and I'm
right.
like, oh!
That's right. That's the American way sometimes. Dr. Heather Zwicky, thank you so much. That was so informative. You just changed my entire diet, and I love it.
Wonderful.
Be well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, you are watching I'm Listening, Stay Connected. We're here to destigmatize talking about mental health. That means we want everyone to be checking in on their own mental health and also do so with the ones you care about and that you love when you talk to them frequently throughout the day. I think it's a really beautiful question. Hey, how are you? How's your day going? How's your mental health? It tells them that it's something you're focusing on. It reminds them for them to focus on it and also lets them know that you're a safe person to go to and talk about when they're having times of struggle. I have a tweet question here. The question asks, how do you keep a positive mindset during this time? Ooh, that's a good one. I've been working really hard on that myself and with all the clients that I'm working with. It's about twofold. Number one, we want to get the stats and facts because we want to be aware of what's happening, but we get to take time away from that. So I tell people check the news in the morning if they want and in the evening, not before bed and not when they first wake up, because you do want to start your day on a positive note. So I tell them to delay looking at their phone, start your day with whatever you want to do, stretch, make your breakfast, have tea, go for a walk. But in the earlier day, you can check the news, and right before bed is the worst time to check the news. You don't want to go to bed anxious, stressed, or triggered, but later in the day and in the middle of the day, you focus on all the things that are nourishing and self-care and positive based. So focus on that, and that'll kind of round out your day and keep you grounded in some of the positivity. Coming up on our next show, we've got comedian Margaret Cho. So you know that's going to be an awesome time. If you want to check out some of our old episodes of I'm Listening, Stay Connected, you could do so on all the radio.com handles on their YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Thank you again to Dr. Heather Zwicky and also to Vassie. Check out her new single, Blink. Thank you all for joining us. Have an awesome, awesome night.